We're not going to have children's church this morning because I intend for it to be short to the point that wouldn't have time for the lesson. So that's what I'm thinking. And this is a executive decision on my part because of where I think I'm going with the word. I have found in the past, though, that sometimes when I stand up here, what happens is different than I have planned, and it doesn't go that way. But joy is an incredible thing. It's amazing in the world that we live in that there is such a thing as joy. Some people miss it because they kind of inherently know that they're created for joy, and they go after it in the wrong ways. They look for it in places that leave them stranded and hopeless sometimes. Then try to cover that feeling with more of the same stuff to get the joy, and then they get in trouble. And anyway, you know that we've all lived that to some extent. So joy can be elusive in that sense that you think something will bring it that doesn't. The world presents there's can't quite figure it out how it was supposed to happen, but you're actually supposed to get all of that kind of joy in the sense that one company advertised that you could go for the gusto by drinking something. You could get a can of something and drink it, and it'd give you the gusto that you need. And that's kind of like saying it'll bring you the joy. It'll fill your life. Can you imagine that if it's in a aluminum can that you could swallow it and here comes the joy? I'm not attacking anything there. I'm just telling you our practices to pursue joy are sometimes strange. But joy is built in to having a relationship with Jesus. If you really know him, then it's kind of like Bluebell ice cream. If you have some in the freezer, you got it. You can partake of it. If you got Jesus in your life, just like if you got Bluebell in the refrigerator, you can access it, experience it, and it's good. Everybody can say amen to that, right? Almost everyone can agree. And even if you can't agree that Bluebell is good, if you access Jesus properly, you can agree that the joy that he gives from knowing that you're right with him, that it's okay, that life is good, it's okay. The joy that comes from that is unsurpassable in any way. That joy is represented a lot of times with songs. He puts a new song in our heart, a song of praise to our God. And I just wanted to share a little today, and I wanted to keep it short with just the sense of what Isaiah said in Isaiah chapter 12. Focus on this for a minute, and then we're going to go, because we've had a time of expressing our worship. We've had a time of righteousness in his presence because the songs have caused us to confess the truth about what he has done for us. And I don't know why we complicate walking with God as much as we do, but God has always made it simple in the sense that he told Adam and Eve, you got all of this garden here to walk in, all of this fruit to partake of, all of this is yours, except this one thing over here will kill you. Don't mess with it. Avoid that. It's real complicated, isn't it? That not really. And the things of God basically are that simple and still are. The simplicity of the gospel is that Jesus has made a way. We encounter the same thing that Adam and Eve did. God has made it simple to love him with all of our hearts and mind and soul and just follow him and want him. I even felt that in my spirit specifically for Julie today, that because you want to walk with God, God's going to help you in ways you don't expect. Isn't that the truth? If you want to go walk with God, God will help you in ways you don't expect. I look at myself sometime and say, God might want to just wipe me out. He's given me enough chances that I didn't do well with that he might, He does do that, sometimes with people. Actually did it on a major scale one time when the earth got so violent and so wicked that people were so cruel to one another and so full of everything was just so out of control because of the sin of men that he killed everybody but 8 people. That's pretty radical. So recognizing God's stance against wickedness, when I look at myself sometimes, I kind of think maybe he might have wanted to. There is a point where God will say to you, no more of that, and deal with you in some pretty severe ways. I just don't want to ever be in that place again. How about you? I would like to bow the knee in such a way that the Father can say gently, this is the way, and I would walk in it. I prefer that, and I recommend it to you, that a tender heart towards God and a heart that truly loves him will lead you in paths of righteousness. Putting the shepherd in that position in your life will cause him to be able to keep you in some special ways. I'm supposed to be talking about joy and bringing you to an understanding of what that, where that comes from, what it is in a very simple way. What I was saying there, though, that just like it was so simple in the garden and the devil was able to deceive and lead in another path, he still does that to us. It's heartbreaking when he does it in our families. It's devastating when he does it to us, when he somehow, sometimes he's done the same thing and made it work enough that you must think you look at yourself and say you're stupid. But I've always tried to say that doesn't accomplish anything. It might be good to realize that you are, as long as you let him be your wisdom. But how am I going to get past this now? All I'm trying to say is that the wickedness that the enemy did in complicating things for Adam and Eve, he will complicate it for you as well. And what is simple can get away from you. The simplicity of just loving God with all of your heart and following him, that can be replaced with you trying to follow something different than this. Isaiah chapter 12. And in that day thou shalt say, O Lord, I will praise thee. Though thou wast angry with me, thine anger is turned away, and thou comfortest me. There's a lot of reasons God could be angry with me.